Right, now this will tell us. And that's pretty conclusive. Still going. Close. I think he got it down.
How strong is he?
Well, welcome back to the Pick and Go podcast, your one-stop shop for all things Super Rugby. And once again, I'm joined in studio by our good friend, Piri Weepu. Piri, how you going?
Good, Paulie. How are we going?
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah. Just me and you today, though. No Surly,
Hey!
no Goldie, no Steve Devine.
Jeepers.
Just down to us two there.
I guess it's up to us just to talk the Hurricanes up so no one else can give us a bit of a rebuttal.
They can't. Oh, you probably don't want to see my bet this week then.
Oh.
What'd you get up to over the weekend? Was there a bit of kids' sports?
Yep. We had in-house trial for our first and second 15 squads, and then my boy had a trial on the weekend for the WC under 55s, and just a bit of training, league training, taking my girls' league team.
Oh, when does that season start?
League tournament is in 2 weeks' time, so pretty soon.
Beautiful. Alrighty, let's get on to the first question. What?
How was the races?
Oh, Cambridge.
Yeah.
Well, it rained all day and it rained all night, but that didn't stop a whole heap of people from having a very, very good time at Cambridge Raceway for Night of Champions last Friday night. And afterwards, of course, we had the big $1 million race, raced by Betcha, and we had the $600,000 race, the TAB Trot.
Was the track heavy?
Well, it's an all-weather track, so I'd say it would have been slushy, maybe.
Change your bets then, because of it, or did you just stick to your guns?
Oh, it didn't matter. And then they had a big concert afterwards with Kaylee Bell, who was pretty big country star. She was very, very good.
Like a bit of country.
I don't mind a bit of country. I'm a little bit country, and I'm a little bit rock and roll. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, show us some moves later.
Well, righty-ho.
Okay.
Serious stuff. Just seen in the news over the last week that the Hurricanes are in... they've got some financial issues. And look, they're not going to fall over, but if we look at the worst case scenario, if the Canes were to fall over and you were the coach of the Blues, the Chiefs, and the Highlanders, what one Hurricane player would you take for each team?
Why wouldn't you ask about Moana as well?
Well, we can throw Moana in there as well if you want.
Which player?
So if you're the Blues coach right now and the Canes fell over, which Canes player would you take?
Jeez, good question. Just trying to think of all the positions that are lacking in some of the franchises.
Well, the Blues had some, I guess, early injury problems at lock, right from the beginning of the season. But if you look throughout their team, the outside backs look fairly strong.
If anyone needs players potentially to help, would be Landers if I was coaching them.
Yeah. So who would you take?
Yeah.
Would you take one of the Loon? Would you take one of the Lucies? Would you take Duplessis Karifi, Peter Larkai? What about Cam Roygard?
Probably Cam.
For the Highlanders?
Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I'm probably going to take, I'd probably take Duplessis Karifi. He's just been playing so well at the moment, and I think he would bolster that loose forward trio down at the Highlanders. So it's a difficult one.
It is.
If you look at the Chiefs, not really sure where
I don't think they're lacking in any really positions at the moment. Maybe another 10 to cover in case D-Mac gets injured.
Oh, yeah.
But other than that, no, I think they're pretty sorted. I think most
Probably why they're top of the table at the moment.
Pretty much.
What about the Blues?
I think they're all right. I don't think they're too bad. If anything, it would have to be somewhere in the midfield. But I mean, Rico's not at his top form, but he's not doing bad. He's still playing good footy. It's just not the usual,
not the high standard that he usually puts on.
That we see.
Yeah,
that we see. I feel like he's been used more as a decoy, and then and people sort of, because they know what his strengths are, and that he's very elusive on attack. But it does his job everywhere else, like defence. When he does get his opportunities, still carries pretty strong and things like that. So, but you get him into open pastures, jeepers, good luck trying to contain him.
Righty-ho.
So you're going with Cam? Or no, you're going with Dupes for the Landers?
Yes.
If you were to take one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Righty-ho. Let's have a look back at last week. And first off, the Chiefs up against the Reds. A top of the table clash. Reds were number 1. Chiefs were number 2. But no doubt about it, there's only one number 1 team right now, and that's the Chiefs. They were so dominant against the Reds team, who has looked very, very good so far this season.
I think the Reds have done pretty well, considering like all the other teams that the Chiefs have played. They're pretty much blowing out the scoreline, whereas the Reds kept it pretty tight for majority of the game. Look at that! Yeah, they were 10 all at half time, and although they only scored 1 try, but I mean, when you're going up against a team that's scoring more than 30 points a game, it's pretty hard to defend and be able to contain them. Not only that, if you've got the energy after you've been on defence that whole time to try and get your attack flowing. So, yeah, I thought the Reds done pretty well. And like you said, Chiefs are at the top for a reason. I'm playing some outstanding footy.
Once again, a bit of discipline with Jeffrey Tu'umaga-Allen getting the yellow card just after half time. And although they didn't give up any points while he was off the field, I think that may have affected them towards the back end of their game. And boy, but Damien McKenzie is just playing some of the best footy of his life right now.
Where would you put him? Would you, if you were picking...
You're talking about All Blacks?
Yeah, if you were picking the AB's team right now, would you put him at 10, or would you put him at 15, or would you bring him
off the
bench to be impact?
That's a tough one. Because you're probably going to have some guy from down Crusaderland in the 15 jersey, probably, unless you decide to move him to the wing. And D-Mac is so good off the bench as well. When he comes on, and if he's up against a tiring defence, he just creates so many opportunities. And then we've got Bowden, who just came back last week.
Looked pretty good too on the weekend.
He did look fairly...
Not going to lie.
He did look the worst. So for the best balance of the team, you might start him off the bench, or Bowden off the bench and start him. I just think he's just so good in the second half of matches when teams really start to tire. And if you got Bowden on the bench, then you're going to bring him on in the second half, unless you decide to bring him on at fullback and just mix it up that way. But, yeah, it's very difficult. I don't know. Where would you go with D-Mac?
I think his form's been electric right from the start, though. Like when he goes to fullback, it gives him opportunity to see all the space. And when he's at 10, obviously he's putting boys into space, creating opportunities with his boys that are there in front of him. But I mean, a lot of his stuff is easy because his team's going forward every time. And I feel some teams that are in our competition at the moment, they're sort of working off back football. They're not really working on front football, whereas the Chiefs have been front football right from the get-go, right from the start of this competition. So makes things easier for D-Mac to make these decisions, you know. So it'll be interesting one will be sort of to see how he goes with a team that's sort of not consistently going forward, going backwards. But I'd probably start him just because at 10, because he's been playing pretty mean. His kicking out of hand's been good. His attack's been amazing. And then if we did have the likes of Bodie's just as much as explosive as D-Mac. You know, whether he's 10 or 15, it's like when he gets his opportunity from the bench, he does exactly what he's supposed to do as an energized bunny and come on and lift the game and speed things up. So, yeah, I'd probably start D-Mac and then have Bodie sit on the bench to bring him on for that explosion of speed and speeding the game up.
Nice. Yeah, it'd be very interesting to see what the All Black selectors do come up with when we get to the first test of the 2025 season. On to the next game, though, Saturday, and it was a Super Saturday, 4 Super Rugby games on Saturday, and it started with Moana Pacifica up against the Waratahs, and Moana Pacifica coming out on top. Not just coming out on top, 13 and over as well. That's a huge result for Moana.
Oh, it is, and I think the Tars should have known what they've been like. They're definitely one of the strongest teams in the second half. Obviously, the week before, they got their start right and they managed to finish strong in the second half. And then against the Tars, didn't have the greatest start. But man, did they come back in that second half with those quick tries, which then just blew out the scoreline. I mean, it's hard to put a finger on one person. I felt like everyone did their role, did their job. Artie, obviously, there's big props around Artie and how he's leading these boys. But I mean, man, I thought everyone put their hand up.
It's very. They could easily have just folded after the start that the Waratahs got. They were up. What was it? 14-0 after not too much. After not too long. Moana scored a try, and then Waratahs scored a try in the lead up to half time, and they led 21-7 at half time. So you could forgive. Or I think last season we may have seen that Moana team just lose confidence, and Waratahs just go on and put a bit of a score on them. That didn't happen. They came out in the second half, and whatever was said in the changing rooms by Tana and the lads certainly worked, because they came out, scored a couple of quick tries, then gave one away again, and it was getting a wee bit sort of almost 50-50, and then they just finished with a wet sail. They were super, super good. And a lot of it, I think, goes back to that forward pack. They really, really stood up in that second half.
I think their forwards have been huge, in terms of a few times they get isolated when they carry the ball, isolated by themselves. But what the boys do really well is they actually try and bust us to get to the breakdown and clean out to recycle the ball. I mean, was it Saito Full? His hat trick on the weekend. I don't think anyone would have had any money on him walking away with a hat trick. But I mean, he's been playing outstanding as well. Even when Artie wasn't there, when he was out with injury, he stepped up to help lead the boys. But I think they've, what is it, first time going back to back as well since they've started in the competition. I think they're just slowly building.
That's huge for them.
Yeah, but building their confidence, and the style of footy that they're playing is got a little bit of direction and then freestyle.
It's a good balance.
It's huge. You don't usually see that with the Pacifica teams. Sometimes it's just, let's just throw the ball around a bit.
Touch rugby.
And then let's see if we can carry up and smash them up the middle if that's not working, But I think they've got that fine balance between a bit of structure and flowing footy, which is huge for them.
Right now, we'll move on to the next game of the round. And the Crusaders had to travel across to Fiji to take on the Drua. And luckily for them, they took them on in Suva, which isn't as quite the fortress as Lautoka is for the Drua. in the end, Drua 14, Crusaders 31. This is a Crusaders team that is they've had a hiccup or two along the way, but when they get it right, they're getting it very, very right.
Oh, 100%. I mean, for them to hold the Drua at 0 at half-time, tells you that their defence systems they've been working away on their defence system. Understanding that going over to Fiji in general is always a tough ask. And I know that the Drua that's probably one of the scalps that they haven't got, I don't think, in this whole competition, is the Crusaders. But I mean, I think they just missed out the week before in terms of the way that they got dealt to from Moana, and then they've just built, like I thought, the style of the footy that the Crusaders have been playing from round one till now is exactly what we know the Crusaders to be like. Dominant at set piece, be quite niggly around the breakdown area, and just make sure that the opposition, you get under their skin and they lose their way in games. So, I thought Crusaders did a pretty good job. But, I'm just gutted for Drua. I was hoping that this will be the opportunity. Well, we might have to wait for it and see what happens.
I'm pretty sure the Drua beat the Crusaders over in Lautoka last season. I think this is the first time the Crusaders have won in Fiji. It's just, I don't know what the difference is between Suva and Lautoka, but there seems to be a wee bit of, when we're in Lautoka, they're like a 3 or 4 point better side than when they're at Suva. But
I forgot to read that part where they were playing exactly in Fiji last week. Damn it.
Where do we go there? From there we go to, it was the Blues and the Hurricanes. Tight game, this one, 19-18 to the Blues, a low-scoring affair up there at Eden Park. What do you take out of this one, Piri?
Yeah. Went to training, actually, on Tuesday. We took our Japanese students to
Hurricanes training?
Yeah, watch the boys train and things like that. And
do they train where? Rugby League Park?
No, NCIS.
Oh, out at the hut?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then they had a few of the AB's management there, checking in on the boys.
Yeah.
It was quite funny catching up with a few of them, but it was actually it was cool to see the Japanese kids watch other boys do their thing with training. Training looked really well, like was humming, really. So I thought that this week was going to be another good week, that they'd go up there and get the job done. But the Blues had obviously understand that the significance of this game and trying to reignite their season. But I thought the battle was huge. Like, I think there was a couple passages of play where Dupes might, and then 2 phases later, I think the Blues ended up stealing the ball back. So it was pretty tight in terms of, there wasn't much going really in terms of huge breaks and opportunities. But, man, gutted that the Canes boys lost. That's probably why Surly didn't show up today, or Goldie. Or Stevie. No. Actually, I would have thought Stevie would have come on.
Would have been
yeah, exactly.
Last game of the round, we had to go across the ditch to Western Australia, where the Force were hosting the Highlanders, and the Force came out on top 29-20, but the Highlanders, who were up, 20 points to 7 in that first half, unfortunately, I don't know, but once again, maybe it's a wee bit of experience that they're just lacking at times, but they seem to have control of that game midway through the first half, and the Force just came back. That the loose forward of the Force, Tizano,
He's been huge, hasn't he?
He has been sensational, and boy, oh boy, can he score a try.
Maybe that's what I need to do. Put some money on Tizano to score a meat pie. He's the leading try scorer of the competition, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Oh, I think the toughest part of that is the Landers going down to 13 players at some stage. They had a red card early in the second half, and then later in the second half, they lost Nariki, I think it was.
Yeah.
For 10 minutes. But when you're having to play with 14 players, then it drops down to 13. It can actually be quite tough on the team, even though I know that they scored the try after the red card. But I thought the Crusaders were looking really, really good. And then all of a sudden, the old second half, usually it's the other way around. Would have thought that they would have carried on what they started, and maybe Jamie didn't give them enough.
Oh, I think that red card really, really affected them. And it was a fairly simple decision. I know it was originally a yellow card, but Willie did slide in with his knee made direct contact with a tackled player who had scored a try already. So I don't think that it wasn't a difficult decision to make, I think, for the officials. And I think that just took the wind out of the sails of the Highlanders. They really didn't recover after that. They tried, and it was just too much of a deficit in terms of being without a player for that amount of time. And as you say, Nariki went off later on in the game as well. So it was a tough slog for the Highlanders, and they'll be happy to return home this weekend. Right, Hope, because you're the only one here, I thought we'd introduce just a new sort of segment. And seeing as you are synonymous with the Hurricanes, I thought we'd get you to play selector and tell us your ultimate all-time Hurricanes lineup.
Ultimate.
So shall we start in the forwards? How did you go anyway? Did you find it easy?
No, I didn't. Not at all. It was pretty tough.
Well, shall we start in the forward pack? Let's go the front row first.
Yep. I come up with Bull Allen. I'm stuck with Colsey, Norm, and Andrew Hall.
Well, hold on. Whoa.
So I'm trying to figure out between the three.
Yeah, okay.
So that's been my brainstorm for the last 12 to 24 hours. And Namir Tialata and Gordy Slater as my front rowers.
Oh.
So maybe you guys can help me out with the front row. Who you guys think?
So Bull Allen.
Yeah.
Dane Coles. And who?
Norm Hewitt.
Oh, Norm Hewitt.
Yeah.
Ah, nice.
And Horry, Andrew Hall.
Yeah.
And Namir Tialata or Slater.
So you want help from the potties out there?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Let's have a conversation about it.
So
you might disagree with it, but that's all right. That's your guys' opinion. This is mine. And
so you've set it on Bull Allen, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
He's locked in. Then hookers, you've got Dane Coles, Norm Hewitt,
and Andrew Hall.
So you want a bit of help to decide who should be the ultimate all-time Hurricanes hooker. And then
I might actually chuck one more in there too.
What? How many are you going to have?
Well, there's a couple of Wainui boys. There's only one I'm missing.
Who else?
Tyrell.
Okay.
So there's Namir, Tyrell, and Gordy. That's the front row. My front row. That need a bit of help with.
Nemia, Tyrell,
Mm-hmm.
and Gordy. Okay. You can only have one, though.
I know.
So you need a bit of help.
Yes.
All right. Let's go into the second row.
I wasn't too sure, but
Now, there's two locks in the team. Two locks.
I know.
Let's start the game. Well, how many are you going to call out?
Just two.
Oh, okay. That's all right then.
Thrushy.
Jeremy Thrush, yes.
Yeah. And the pig, Jason Eden.
Did you play with both of those guys?
I did.
Oh, okay. Bit of favouritism going on there.
Well, yeah, maybe.
Okay. No room for Broadhurst, okay.
Well, Brody was the one that broke my leg.
Oh, well, he was never going to make it.
No.
Well, Dion
Nothing
Waller,
bad like
no, okay.
The loose
Blindside.
trio. I've gone with Jerry by himself.
Yep. I think that's fairly easy.
7 is Marsoe or Salvea. So Ari or Chris.
Oh.
And Rodney and Philo.
Oh, Philo Tetia.
Mm-hmm.
There's a name you haven't heard for a while. So you've got 2 number 8s.
2 number 8s
and 2 open
7s.
sides. But Jerry, he's locked in.
Yes.
Okay. So we need help with the open sides. Who was it? Artie and
Chris, Marsoe.
Marsoy. And then number 8, you've got
Rodney Soyalo, and Philo Tietia.
Philo Tietia. Okay. You played with both those guys too, didn't you?
Not Philo.
Didn't you? Was he finished by the time you started?
I think he had gone to, was it Japan? I think
Japan?
he might have been over Japan, or either that or Europe.
Okay, so halfback's you. So move on to first 5.
What? What did you just say?
Halfback is you. So
No,
move
it's
to the
not.
first. What?
Hell no.
Well, who's going to be in there?
I've got 3.
Okay.
3 players. TJ.
Yeah.
Preston.
And Nasty Spice.
Roygaard.
Oh, Roygaard. Sorry, Nasty Spice.
So, yeah. Halves those 3.
TJ, Roygaard,
And Preston.
and John Preston. Okay. First 5, 8.
Dooley. David Holwell.
Oh, I didn't expect that. Great
Oh.
player, though.
Probably might not have been the most, the fastest team, but definitely the strongest,
The toughest.
and toughest,
Yeah.
definitely.
Didn't mind it. Didn't mind tackling.
Didn't mind freaking taking the ball, running it at the fence,
Straight
getting
at
his
them.
ribs smoked, and then offload. I'm like, I couldn't do that. So yeah, I'd gone with Dooley, David Holwell.
Yeah.
People will probably tell me, what about Bodie? But I've gone with Dooley. And then she's pretty smooth sailings after that.
Oh, okay. Can I say Ma'anonu?
Yep.
Is he second 5, 8?
Yep.
Conrad?
Yep.
I'm going to go Tana on 1 wing.
Yep.
Jonah?
Yep.
And Christian Cullen.
Hang on.
Sorry about that, Corey James. Oof, jeez.
I just can't. Cully's just. Yeah, I couldn't go past Cully. I know Super will be mad at me, but because he's put a fend on me. Get out of here! I know we're mates, but you're over there now. Get.
Wow, wait. So the backs you found fairly easy.
Yeah, apart from
Halfback.
but yeah, pretty much.
And the forwards.
Well, I would have said Mata and Tana, but you can't go past that combination.
That combination.
of
Not just for the Canes, but for the All Blacks.
for everything, really.
Yeah.
And I've seen Tana on the wing as well. It was pretty handy.
Well, that's where he started, didn't he? Yeah. In fact, he played quite a few games on the wing. Well, probably because there was that combination inside for quite a few years. Oh, okay. So there's Pitty's ultimate all-time Hurricanes team. Let us know. He needs a bit of help because he couldn't decide on a number of positions there. Let us know if there's who you think should be in that ultimate Hurricanes team. Righty-ho. Let's look forward to this week now. And the games are, we start off on Friday with a huge game here, right here at the Tinny House. The Hurricanes up against the Crusaders. Huge game for the Canes here. What have they got? The Canes, a $2.05 outsider at home against the Crusaders, who are $1.72. They are 1.5 point underdogs, the Canes, and the game total is set at 59.5. Pity, what are you going to do here? How do you look at this game?
I'm thinking with my heart.
Hold on, let's just check that sheet again.
Yeah, Perfect Realm hasn't been very successful.
He's very consistent. Yet to have one win this season.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Anyway,
Okay. Yeah.
no, I'll back the Canes this week. I know it's a home game for them. They'll be disappointed in the result from the weekend. I know that the Crusaders have gone to Fiji, to Suva, got the job done, but I still think that the Canes have still got a bit of fuel in the belly to get the job done. So, I think they'll be working hard this week just to get the little things right from last week, and hopefully they can get the job done. But, yeah, Canes.
I guess the concerning thing for me for the Canes was the goal kicking last week. I think Hohepa, who had a pretty good all-round game, missed 3 kicks at goal. Bodie missed 1. You lose by 1 point. You can usually look at something like that and go, if we'd been slightly more accurate, we get home. So that's it. And I don't know. Right now we don't know the makeup of the team as we speak on a Tuesday morning. But I know the Hurricanes at home are a lot better than when they're away. But this is a very, very good Crusaders team.
I feel like they've changed the way that they play now, the Crusaders. You look at them from last year to this year.
Yeah.
I feel like they've come together. They've done a pretty mean off-season, pre-season. And it shows by the way that they play. Everyone's confident. Everyone understands what their role is. And if you don't get it right and shut up shop, especially if you've got a lead of like 20 points, you still need to keep playing against the Crusaders. They're the type of team that'll come out in the second half and change what they did in the first half and get under your skin even more. And then you start playing silly footy. You know, I'm only saying that because it's happened before when I've played. And when you shut up shop and you don't play footy as you should, they'll come back and, be that well-oiled team that they have been in the past.
Well, these two teams met in the very first round of the season down in Christchurch, and the Crusaders came out in a fairly tight, high-scoring encounter. So I expect to see something similar this Friday night at the Tinny House, as long as the weather plays its part. And the forecast at the moment doesn't look too bad. So hopefully we get some good open rugby on Friday night down here. And Piri's hoping we come out with a Hurricanes win. So am I. Second game, we head across to Sydney, where the Waratahs host the top-of-the-table Chiefs. The Waratahs, $4. The Chiefs, $1.22. They are 10.5 point underdogs at home, the Waratahs. And the game total is set at 58.5. Chiefs just keep on the roll here, do they, Piri?
Well, this is a time that they could potentially try and rest people, which I don't think they'll want to. So, someone like D Mac could get a break here, but if they want to continue playing the footy that they've been playing with their key player, with D Mac, then I think, they would continue to do what they've been doing. But, Tars have been a different team at home. Totally different to when they're travelling, but when they're at home, I think they've got a few games that right at the end that they've won, especially I think it was round 1 or 2 against the Highlanders.
Mm-hmm.
They come back from behind right at the death and got the job done. So, I feel like this could be a tough one. If the Chiefs are going to rest players, then there might be that opportunity. Obviously, we don't know because we don't know the squads at the moment, being Tuesday morning. But, I feel it'd be a bit tighter than what the bookies are saying.
Righty, on to Saturday, and the Blues host Moana Pacifica. The Blues, $1.16. Moana Pacifica, not a lot of respect from the bookies. They're out at $4.80. They are 14.5 point favourites, the Blues, at home against Moana Pacifica. The game total is set at 63.5. Are the bookmakers showing the Moana Pacifica enough respect here? 14.5 point underdogs?
No, I don't think they are. I mean, if you look at the style of the two teams that are playing, I feel like Moana's probably got the bit better style at the moment. I think they know how their game plan works for them, as opposed to the Blues are trying to do something that that probably doesn't quite fit their team just yet, but I still think they're working on it. But I think the style of footy that Moana are playing is absolutely how they want to play, and it's been working really well. Yet the results may not tell you that, but they haven't been far off. So, if the Blues don't show up in that first half and give the opportunity to Moana in that second half, we know how deadly they can be. But, man, yeah, I don't think the bookies are giving them that much respect.
Come on, man. 2 on the trot. They're going to make it 3 this weekend if they can.
Well, what is it? Big brother, little brother.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Just like, Battle of the Bridge.
Well,
Hey, the new Battle of the Bridge now.
well,
Instead of Hub and Auckland, now it's the Blue.
are we going to see? Are we going to see the same sort of biff we used to see?
Can't get away with it these days.
Well, but if you look at the table right now, the best team in Auckland is Moana Pacifica. They're on 15 points. The Blues are on 11. And yet we still see Moana Pacifica 14.5-point underdogs. I think that's just a little bit of an overreaction there, this Moana Pacifica team. And if there's a game that, Artie gets up for every bloody game. But if he, against the Blues, I think he just gets a little bit more determined.
Well, if you look at the squads, it's pretty much is half of their team's poly as well in the Blues.
Blues.
And so it'll be, okay, let's go out there and show them who's the king around Auckland at the moment, who's the Auckland area at the moment. It's going to be us. So we're going to show you the reasons why. But yeah, I think they'll all get up for this game, not just Artie.
Like the whole team.
Yeah, I reckon. I think they're just gelling really well. And I think they've done a lot of good work in the preseason to allow them to come together so that they can play good footy. Yep, results haven't gone their favour on a few games, but they haven't been far off. Like that opener, it was only, if they were able to hold on for an extra minute, and stayed in the fight, I think they would be in a different place right now.
They'd be in the top 6 right now if they had beaten the Force.
Exactly. So I don't think they're doing too bad. I feel like their footy's been pretty consistent this year as opposed to what it's been like in the past.
Right, next game, and we've got the Highlanders back home hosting the Fijian Drua. Highlanders $1.35, the Drua $3. Highlanders are 7.5-point favourites, and the game total is set at 58.5. The Highlanders on the back of 4 losses now in a row. They'll be very, very happy to return down to the South Island. Surely after the Drua didn't quite put it together last week against a very, very good Crusaders team over in Fiji, Highlanders get back on the winning track again? Or is there an upset in the cards?
I don't know. I feel like the Drua is not playing the same style of footy that they had at the start of the season, of the season. So I think the Highlanders probably just continue with their form, although they haven't got the results, but they're not far off in terms of getting the results. So I think the bookies might have this one right, though. Yeah, I'll probably pick the Landers on this one.
Right, final game of the round, and it's an all-Australian affair. The Reds are back home, $1.67 the Reds, the Brumbies $2.10. The 1.5-point favourites, the Reds, and the game total is set at 57.5. We look at this. Was it just a hiccup from the Reds last week against a very, very good Chiefs side? Or do the Brumbies continue putting the pain on the Reds?
Oh, I don't know. I know the Brumbies have been one of the most consistent franchises over there of any of them, but I feel like the Reds are looking pretty good at this stage anyway. I feel like out of all the Aussie teams, they're probably the ones that we didn't expect to be where they are, which was at the top of the table last week. Obviously, they lost on the weekend, but still, no one envisioned that the Reds will be at the top of the table. You'd expect someone like the Brumbies to be at the top of the table, but actually they're sitting about 6th or 5th, I think it is. So I think the Reds try and continue their momentum And just make a few changes, I guess, defensively or even on the attack side of it.
Yeah, the Brumbies are currently 5th on the table, although the Force sit above them in 4th place, 1 point ahead of them. However, they haven't had the bye yet, the Force, which they will be having this weekend, which gives the Brumbies an opportunity to jump over the top of the Force. So we're at the point of the show where we're going to have a look at a bit of betting, and it's not very pretty for many people at all.
Where is it?
Do it.
All right. Just for the one person.
Yeah. Let's start with Steve Devine first. He had 2 bets. He had the Crusaders to lead at halftime, the Drua to win. Well, the Crusaders led at halftime, but the Drua were unable to get over the top. And he also had $50 on the Drua to win by 1-12. So down 100 for the week and down 300 for the season. I don't think we got anything from Goldie last week. You had the Blues to lead at halftime, Canes to win.
Yep.
No good. And then you had, were you trying for the perfect round? Chiefs, Moana, both head to head. Well, that started off all right.
Yeah, it did.
Canes 13 and over. Nah. Drua 1-12 and Force head to head. You're down 100 for the week and you're down 700 for the season. Yet to pick up, yet to have one successful.
All right.
Alrighty. Oh, here we go. Of all of us, we had one successful leg. That's our good friend, Surly.
Oh, that's right then.
Shirley picked the Chiefs to win, the Force to win, and Moana Pacifica to win. They came out at $3.48. He put $80 on that. And then he had, the $100 man, the 100 game man, Stevenson, to be the first, second, or third try scorer in the Reds Chiefs game. Unfortunately, Stevenson didn't score, even though the Chiefs went on to win. So Surly made $258.40 for the week, and he is up $561.80 overall. I had a couple of bets. I had the Chiefs to win by 1-12 into Moana Pacifica to win by 1-12. Fortunately, Moana were just way too good. That was no good. And then I had a try scorer double, D-Mac to score a try, and Caleb Tangito to score a try. I don't think either of them scored a try. Down 100 for the week, and I'm up 562.78 overall for the season. So we get to this week, Pity.
You go first this week.
Are you going for the perfect round? What are you trying to do?
No, I'm just going to pick. I think I'm just going to go with 2.
Okay. You want me to go first, or you want to go?
No, I'll go.
Okay.
I'll put 50 on Moana head to head
At $4.80.
Yep. And then I'll do Canes head to head, Chiefs head to head, and Moana head to head. And put 50 on that.
So say that one again.
Canes,
Yeah.
Chiefs, and Moana. 50 on that.
Canes, Chiefs, and Moana. 50 on that. Okay. I might just have one bet this week. Put the whole hundy on. It's a double. I'm going to take over 59.5 points in the Hurricanes Crusaders game. Now, the Hurricanes at home have scored a lot of points. In fact, every game that they've played at the Tinny House this season so far, there have been more than 60 points scored in the game. So I'm going to go over 59.5 Hurricanes Crusaders into Moana Pacifica plus 14.5 against the Blues. I think that's just a wee bit too generous from the bookmakers. I think this Moana Pacifica team now has some momentum. They now have a whole heap of confidence. And I think they can actually take this game to the Blues and give them a really good tussle. So Moana Pacifica plus 14.5. That comes out at $3.49, the whole $100 on that, hopefully. Get around just under $350 back.
Damn.
On the weekend. Righty-ho, that's it for another pick and go. This weekend, what do you got? A wee bit of sports again?
Yeah, pretty much. We've got club day at school.
Yeah.
And then what else have I got? Just coaching on a Sunday and watch a bit of footy over the weekend as well. What about you?
Very, very quiet weekend. Might go to the Tinny House on Friday night and watch the Canes take on the Crusaders. Pretty good game.
So you can keep a close eye on your bet?
Yeah. Score some points. Well, please. If I cheer loud, they might run faster.
Too right.
Did you run faster when the crowd was screaming?
I was never faster than you. That's why I always pass it to everyone else. And just back up just in case. Just in case I might get a meat pie.
Righty-ho. That's it for us on the Pick and Go podcast. But we'll be back next week, and I'm sure we'll have in fact, I know we're going to have a couple of extra guests next week. I'm sure Surly will be he'll be striving to get back in here. I think we'll let him back in. We will let him back in. And we might have someone from down Highlander land joining us as well.
Wait, it'd be good if
we get him to do his all-time Highlander team.
Why not?
Shall we?
Yes.
Okay. We'll see if Goldie will put that together for us, his all-time Highlander
and let's
team.
See
if
he picks himself or if he's like me.
He might pick himself
in
all 15
definitely.
Righty-ho. Looking forward to that next week. And thanks for listening this week. We'll catch you again on the Pick and Go podcast sometime next week.